what happens when a community truly wraps its arms around a child and a family. On this week's episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers Podcast, I sit down with three leaders from Ocean Partnership for Children, a care management organization serving youth across Ocean County, New Jersey. We talk about support, safety, and hope during Domestic Violence Awareness Month and beyond. My guests include Jessica Pepe, Development Coordinator, Katie Colhoun, Director of Community Resources and Advocacy, Maureen DeSantis, Director of Care Management, and we cover what domestic violence really looks like. It's not only physical, and how sometimes shame stops those who need help the most. There is so much support out there, and we will share resources with you. We also talk about how Ocean Partnership's free family-centered wraparound services stabilize crisis and help kids thrive, from care management to youth groups and specialized supports. The impact of social media on mental health and practical ways families can set healthy limits. We talk about why one caring adult can be a powerful protective factor for a child. If you need support, please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 800-799-7233. There is no shame in needing support. No one should be treated disrespectfully. For more information about Ocean Partnership for Children, go to oceanpartnership.org. If you or someone you love needs help, you're not alone. There is support, there is safety, and there is a path forward. Don't forget to subscribe to the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Today is the Day Live It. And if you want to learn more about how to have your impact shared on this podcast and all other services, including coaching and consulting, go to todayisthedayliveit.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I'm your host, Jody Grunwald, and as I say every single episode, I interview the changemakers, the inspirers, and those who are disrupting the status quo in the best way possible. And today, I don't have just one guest, I have three. I'm so super excited to talk to these three incredible leaders, especially because October is a very special month. It's National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so this comes in at the right time too for this conversation. But let's get into introducing these incredible leaders. So first I'm going to introduce, I can't speak already, introduce Jessica Pepe. Jessica has been a dedicated member of Ocean Partnership for Children since 2012, when she joined the organization as a temporary employee during a career transition. Inspired by Ocean Partnership for Children's mission, she quickly found her passion for supporting youth and families and advanced through the roles of care manager, lead care manager, and care manager supervisor. She has a very long bio, which they all do, so I'm not going to get into all of them, so ladies, but I want to welcome you, Jessica. Thank you for being on and being part of this.
Thank you.
Did I say your last name correctly?
It's Pepe, like
Pepe.
like hyper, Peppy.
Pepe. Okay. See, and it's important to me always to get last names right. So if I mess up anybody else's, just correct me. Next, we'll go to Katie. Katie and I know each other for a little bit. Katie Colhoun.
Colhoun, yes.
Awesome. Serves as the Director of Community Resources and Advocacy at Ocean Partnership for Children and has been with the agency since 2007. Her responsibilities include developing relationships and memorandums. Today's one of those days. Memorandums of understanding with various professional and community providers, assisting staff with finding resources for the youth and families that Ocean Partnership for Children serves, advocating at all levels for needed resources and system changes, and overseeing marketing and development. You have a small little job. It's very small.
A little bit.
Just a little bit there. Katie, welcome.
Thank you.
And then last but not least, we have Maureen DeSantis. Did I get your last name correct?
Indeed, you did.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. It's funny. We talked about beforehand that we can edit anything out. I want the listeners to hear this. I like doing this at that. But it's better to make mistakes because we learn from them And that's how we are as human beings. So you'll hear that in this conversation, that the human experience is important and to be able to honor that within yourself. So Maureen is one of the 3 directors of care management at Ocean Partnership for Children. Her role is critical in supervising and supporting her team of care managers, supervisors who work directly with the care managers. Maureen has been with Ocean Partnership for Children since 2015 and embraces the agency-wide commitment to OPC's mission and the everyday passion for the work with youth and families. So everyone, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. And so I know everybody's going to want, oh no, absolutely. So I know everybody's going to want to know exactly what Ocean Partnership for Children does, but before we get into all of that, since I mentioned OPC multiple times, first I want to get started and ask you all the same question. And we're going to start with Jessica on this one. So Jessica, where, now it's not a hard one, I promise. 2 questions. Where did you grow up and what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh boy. So I grew up in Brick, New Jersey, born and raised. And I went from wanting to be a journalist to a sportscaster to a lawyer to a therapist, and always circled back on the writing thing, but never in my wildest dreams that I think I would be doing fundraising, marketing, and development for a nonprofit.
It's amazing how it finds you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's funny. I stood in front of a room of 300 high school seniors and I asked them, who here wants to be in work for a nonprofit or start a nonprofit? Not one person out of 300 raised their hands. It finds you, you don't find it, I believe, right? Katie, you're shaking your head. Do you agree with that?
Yes, for sure.
So where did you grow up and what did you want to be when you grew up?
I grew up in Howell, New Jersey for most of my life, and now I'm in Brick. What did I want to be when I grew up? I think I wanted to be a child psychologist because I told my family I want to fix our family because we're all so screwed up. I've given up on that. I've realized that's not going to happen. And then I went for psychology and religion and ended up in social work. I didn't even know social work was a thing when I went to college. So when you said nonprofit, do they even know what a nonprofit is?
Right. So. Well, they all thought they couldn't make any money doing it, right? So that was when I asked the reason, they were like, well, I don't want to be broke for the rest of my life. That was pretty much what they said. And I said, well, if you move your way up the ranks, that doesn't necessarily happen. I want people who are listening to know that being a nonprofit is very important. It helps lots and lots of people. And we'll talk about who those people are through Ocean Partnership for Children in a little bit. So Maureen, same questions.
Yes, I grew up in Monmouth County, born and raised, and honestly, I always knew I wanted to be a social worker. I, really inspired by my grandmother, who I think of as a de facto social worker. She was always involved in the community, running her local food pantry, taking in people who had nowhere to go. And this kind of trickled down to my mom. And when I went to school, from the get-go, I knew social work was for me. So I really consider it to be my passion and a vocation, not just a job. So.
And one of the things that if you think about, if you all made one other decision than you made up to today, you would have probably never met each other. You wouldn't be working together. Yet you all came from different ideas of what you wanted to be when you grew up. So for those who are listening who maybe not know where they want to grow and go to, certain things sometimes find you. And I just want to thank the 131 countries that have downloaded this podcast. And I know that your 3 voices will be heard by those people across the globe. And so thank you for listening. And this is going to be a very important conversation. So let's get into a little bit of Ocean Partnership for Children. I feel like there's so much to it. We probably could spend the entire hour on all the services that you supply. I'm going to throw this out there. Who would like to go first to start talking about what Ocean Partnership for Children does?
I can take that.
All right,
take that,
Jessica.
So we are the Ocean County Care Management Organization. So what that means is we provide free, accessible services to all kids up to the age of 21, all throughout Ocean County. So for folks that are listening that are in New Jersey or in Ocean County, you know how large that county is. It could take an hour and a half to drive from one end to the other. And our staff is out there in youths and families' homes, providing services to them. The kids might be in crisis, dealing with substance use, developmental disabilities, domestic violence in the home, mental health, juvenile justice, like you name it. If a child is struggling, we're working with those kids. And they get that one-on-one treatment too. So a care manager is going to go in the home, work with the youth, work with the family, create a team around them, and put the services in and link them to the resources that they need to not only survive, but thrive. And it could take anywhere from 3 months to 3 or 4 years. So it's all individually based on what's going on. And that's in a nutshell is what we do.
All right. Who wants to add more? I mean, it's such a vast organization. Who wants to go next?
I'll add, right now we're serving over 1,100 youth in the county. We have a staff of about 80 care managers to do all that. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's never ending, but it's work. It's a great place. And, you know, we really care about the kids and the families in the community. And we do more than that. We don't just do care management. We have how many free youth groups right now? 4 or 5. An IDD specialist, meaning intellectual developmental disabilities. They help them with the applications to get DD eligibility. What else am I forgetting?
We have a specialized care coordinator. So her role is really working with youth and families that are struggling with problematic sexual behaviors. So that's her role. What else do we have?
Maureen, you got
all the time. Maureen, can you talk about domestic violence? Because we do
absolutely.
that as well.
Yeah. You know, so early on in my career in social work, I found myself kind of accidentally working with domestic violence and sexual violence survivors. And so wherever I've gone in my career, I've kind of brought that along with me. And working at Ocean Partnership, right, we're serving about 1,100 families. And we know from the statistics that a significant number of them have been exposed to or are currently experiencing domestic violence. So when our care managers are out in the field and they're working with these families, it's one of the many issues that we work with them to train them to feel more comfortable to address the issue when it comes up and to link the families with the most appropriate services. And so that kind of leads into, 6 years. This year will be our 6th annual Domestic Violence Candlelight Vigil, where we acknowledge October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we really just acknowledge the impact of domestic violence on our whole community. And it's not just simply mental health that it affects our kids. It affects how they go to school, how well they function at school, how they develop relationships themselves. It impacts, how their mother is able to go to work every day. We know domestic violence really impacts employment and lost days at work. So it's one of many issues at OPC that we talk about, but it is something that we like to, with October rolling around, we like to put a special emphasis on.
So, Maureen, I want to ask this because I think it's really important for the listeners to understand. Domestic violence doesn't always mean physical violence. And I think it'd be really great if you could characterize that. So somebody may be listening going, oh, I don't know if that's what I'm experiencing and have shame. And I also want to talk a little bit about the shame around that as well. But let's start with let's definitely start with what is domestic violence?
Yes. Domestic violence is a pattern of behavior that is used in an intimate partner relationship to establish control over that other person. And absolutely, it is not just physical. There could be no physical abuse whatsoever, and you could still find yourself in a very abusive relationship. There's physical, there's emotional, there's mental, there's sexual abuse. And working with clients and families over the years, I've had clients say to me, the person never put their hands on me, but yet they found themselves in a position where they were being controlled or coerced into doing things they didn't want to do and really feared for their safety. So it is important, I think, for people to know that there's all different elements that can be involved in an abusive relationship, and to keep that in mind when you're seeking help.
So I want to ask this question because a lot of people have been throwing this word around, and I'm sorry, I know I'm picking on you a little bit, Maureen, here.
No, it's okay.
The word narcissist has been thrown around a lot now, right? And so I really would love also, since we're talking about mental health, and this is an important topic, and a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, although I'm a certified professional coach, I am not a therapist. And so, a lot of times a narcissist, there's narcissist abuse, and there's, would that still fall under domestic violence?
Well, this is an interesting question. And I think depending on who you asked in the field, you might get some different answers. Kind of absolutely. Someone with a narcissistic personality disorder could be engaging in abuse in their relationship. However, kind of the family tree I come from in learning about domestic violence, we were always taught that you don't use a mental health diagnosis to justify abusive behavior. And so, yes, mental health issues or substance issues may be a red flag and may contribute to some of the dynamics, but it is not the cause of that abusive behavior, And so, like, sometimes clients will give an example of, we'll be talking, or, our families will talk about, he only, and I say he really just because the majority of victims are female, although of course men can be abused in relationships as well. But I'll have, a client say, or one of our families say, he only does this to me. These behaviors are not out in the public. Nobody else sees this part of him. And so that kind of explains, like, if you have a mental health diagnosis, you don't pick and choose where your symptoms come and go. And so, when talking about abusive behaviors, it is a choice to engage in that abusive behavior. And so that's kind of where my stance is on it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really want to make sure the definitions are out there for people to truly understand. For those who are listening that are dealing with domestic violence in New Jersey, do you have any resources? I like to always stop and share one or two because they may hear this, connect with it, and in this moment be willing to make that phone call or look up that email address. Do you have something you could share with them?
So in the state of New Jersey, every county does have its own domestic violence agency, with a whole gamut of support services available to anyone that reaches out. In Ocean County, we have Providence House is our local DV agency. The state of New Jersey also has the New Jersey Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And there are 24/7 hotlines that people can access, and speak confidentially with a counselor on the other line, to get an idea of what services are available where they are. The national hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE, SAFE. And that's the national number, and they can always direct you to what's nearby to you if you're looking for resources.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Now,
I have the
go
New
ahead,
Jersey
Jessica.
helpline as well, just for folks who are
Please.
listening that need to maybe jot it down. The New
Sure.
Jersey helpline is 1-800-572-SAFE. That's 7233.
Now, for those who are not from New Jersey, since I said 131 countries are listening, there is something where you're located, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And if I could just too, you mentioned, Jody, the concept of shame. It's always really important. We talk about, that this is nothing to be ashamed of, that domestic violence can happen to anyone at any time. There's no discrimination in DV. It's across all cultures, all religions, all socioeconomic status. And that we really believe in holding the abusive person accountable for their behaviors, that this is, back in the day, this was kept behind closed doors. It didn't get talked about. It was kept in the family, that kind of thing. We've come a long way since then. And so know that if you're experiencing this, you're not alone. You do not deserve it. And there is help for you out there.
Maureen, can you give
Yeah.
the stats? Because I don't think people understand just how prevalent it is.
Yes, absolutely. I think the most current stat says something like every minute, 24. Oh my goodness. Am I lost? Oh no, I thought I lost my connection, which would not be unusual with this computer. I think the most recent stats, and you're right, Katie, it's very shocking because even though DV gets a lot more airtime than it used to, I still think people aren't really fully aware of how prevalent it is. And I think the current stat is that every minute in the United States, 24 people experience some form of domestic violence via their intimate partner. So every minute, 24 people. I think it comes out to something like 13 million people a year or something like that. So it's common, it's everywhere. And it's definitely something that, again, we see impacting our kids that we work with, at Ocean Partnership.
And again, I just want to mention that it doesn't matter whether you live in the most affluent or the least affluent area in your town. This is not about that. And so that's why I think a lot of people, and I'm on a mission myself too, to let those people know, those professional people out there who live in hiding, that it's okay to share and feel and be able to not have that shame, because a lot of people do, and they're in hiding, living dual lives, and it's hard. So do you have advice for those people real quick before we get into what the effects that this has on the children?
What I always say is trust yourself. No one knows your story better than you do. And so when you're about to make some decisions about what you want to do, if you're making a safety plan, if you're trying to get out of this relationship, find your support system and trust yourself. We really want to empower survivors because they've been in such a disempowered place for so long. We don't want to second guess what they know best about themselves. So trust them, support them, know that often it takes victims, I think it's between 8 and 12 times of leaving their abusive partner before they're able to finally make that break. So if you are a person supporting somebody, know that and continue to stand by them as they go through their process.
Are you looking for a way to connect with a global audience? Join us on October 23rd for the Today's the Day Changemakers International Forum. Register for free at todayisthedayliveit.com. That's todayisthedayliveit.com. This one-day virtual forum brings together leaders, authors, CEOs, and entrepreneurs from around the world to provide powerful insights across 6 transformational panel discussions: rising through uncertainty, the burnout breakthrough, louder than the scroll, when fundraising follows purpose, becoming who you haven't met yet, and entrepreneurship as a global connector. And also, sponsorship opportunities are available and customized to align with your organization's goals and ensure meaningful visibility. Options may include commercial spots during the forum, spotlight features on the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast, social media mentions and recognition, potential interview opportunities, and creative recognition that maximizes your marketing investment. By joining us as a sponsor, you're not just supporting an event, you're fueling a global movement of connection, collaboration, and authentic impact. Together, we'll strengthen one another, build powerful connections, and walk away with actionable steps that create immediate positive change, both personally and professionally. So don't wait. Secure your spot today at todayisthedayliveit.com.
Well, let's talk about, because we are highlighting the importance of domestic violence awareness in this October episode, what the effects are for the kids. And who would like to answer that? I don't know, Maureen or whomever.
Does anybody else want to talk? I can certainly run with it, but
Maureen, it's all you. It's your show today.
It runs the full gamut. And, there's no way, again, in years past, I think the belief was, oh, the kids didn't know what was going on, right? That is a complete myth. The kids know what is going on. Their mental health is impacted. Kids who have been exposed to DV are at a much higher rate of developing depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder later on in life. It impacts their ability to go to school and do well and learn. And it impacts their ability to form relationships later on in life. They just may not feel safe. And they may not feel safe in their own decision-making process. So we see the impact on the kids that we work with all the time.
Do you find that alcoholism plays a major role in domestic violence?
Again, alcohol can definitely be, and often is part of the dynamic, alcohol and substances. And it certainly, it can help to escalate a situation when someone is under the influence of substances. But again, we would say it's not a causal factor.
Right. And a lot of people I don't want to say that in a general term, but they lean on that as the trigger piece. It was because I took that or did that caused me to act this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for those listening who may be hearing that, I want them to hear that is the cover up of what's really happening underneath, correct?
Yes. Yeah, without a doubt.
That's important. So let's talk about how you support the kids through this and other things that go on in their life. Who would like to share on that one?
Go for it, Jess.
What? Okay. So what we do is it's a wraparound process when the kids come and are referred to us. So what that means is we look at the youth and the family in a very individualized lens. We help to figure out what are some of their strengths, what are the actual needs. Let's put a plan together. And the services that we are able to put in can be anywhere from 2 hours a week in home with a clinician working with the youth. It could be ABA services that we're putting in. We could be linking the kids to a psychiatric assessment. We could be linking them to recreational activities. So it's all very holistic once we're in there to try and figure out what's the dynamic, what's the culture, what are the strengths of the whole family, and how do we get you from A to B? So some of the services, like I said, we can put in Art Grow, which is it's working with the parents and caregivers in a very curriculum-based setting of trauma-informed care. We can put in Nurturing Parent programs, which again is a 12-week parenting program to help parents or caregivers on, appropriate discipline strategies, consequence strategies, their own self-care when they're parenting. Behavior assistance we can put in. I know I'm missing a whole lot of services because really it's dependent on what's going on in the home, and we can be as creative as we need. There have been times that we have paid for security deposits to help a family get stable housing, or help them with utility bills to put the lights back on, help with co-pays if someone needs a medication they just can't afford this month. We're able to help out with those kinds of things. So in our 20 years, we have spent over $5 million on what we call flex funds, which are services and resources that the youth and family needs that either insurance won't cover, or are just not accessible to them, or just kind of out of their price range that particular month. So over $5 million spent on these things just to help families sometimes with basic needs that they just can't access. And Katie, as our director of community resources and has been doing this forever, can definitely fill in the blanks for me.
I just want to highlight, I think it's really important you brought up the parents, because although we work with children, we really work with the entire family. And it's not just, we're not going to come in and fix a kid, kind of, so to speak, because we get asked that. And it's like, no, it's a holistic approach, and we need to help the parents. And something with domestic violence is it's often generational. It's not just, oh, it just started to happen. This has been going on. So breaking those cycles is really important. So it's really key that we do support the parents. And a lot of times, like they're so focused on the kids or this. I remember asking a mom once, what do you like to do? She's like, I don't even know anymore. I'm just taking care of my kids all the time and working all the time. And I was like, well, what did you like? She's like, I used to love riding a bike. I'm like, then we'll get you a bike and just go out and ride your bike a couple times, you know, a week or whatever. And like just something simple like that, just kind of coming back to yourself and taking care of yourself. And it's not, you know, always putting the kids and everyone else first. So I think that's really important. It's not just about the kids, it's about everyone in the family. Often
And our care managers are so great and they
Yeah.
recognize that. So our care managers have to go out and visit with the youth and the family at least once a month, like in person for a face-to-face visit. Outside of that, they're in communication with them on a weekly basis, checking in, seeing how things are going. They're going to school meetings and advocating at IEP meetings. They're contacting DCP&P workers to see how things are going, if child welfare is involved at all. We have care managers going out, maybe when the kids are still at school, just meeting with the parents and caregivers to help them fill out applications for Social Security or job applications, or coming up with a safety plan for a victim of domestic violence. Maybe when we know that the other partner is not home, we're going out and helping them develop a safety plan, put a to-go bag together. I mean, I did that specifically with a family years ago, and she was able to finally leave and get the services that she needed for her children. So our care managers are always going that extra mile. It's not all service driven. It's not a cookie cutter plan. It's what does this particular family need? And let's figure it out together as a team.
You talk about $5 million. You mentioned that a few minutes ago, and you know that's a lot of money. So let's talk about how you get funded and how people, if they're listening, if they want to connect and support, how they can do that. Jessica, I'm assuming that would fall under you.
Yes. So we are 90% of our revenue is Medicaid dollars that comes both from state and federal. We have a small contract with the state as well. So we're contracted with the state of New Jersey to provide this service. There's actually 14 other CMOs across the state of New Jersey that do the same work that we do, all individually run, but the same kind of programming. What else? So now
if somebody wanted to support you know, they're hearing this.
Support us, we will take any kind of support there is, because we're always developing new programs that maybe aren't Medicaid funded, and we're just kind of doing it on our own. So if you visit www.oceanpartnership.org, go to the support us page, and there is a list of things that we'll accept. We will accept donor advised funds. We will accept just straight donations. We will accept sponsorships for upcoming events. We would love if folks checked out our Amazon wish list. You know, we're going to be updating that periodically throughout the year. We do toy drives for our kids. We just did a back to school drive. We do personal hygiene drives so that some of our kids who are in out of home programs and maybe can't get hair products, like our teens sometimes want to work on their hair, they can't get that. We have a little personal hygiene hub so the care manager can come in, grab some stuff and bring it to the youth in their program so that they can, you know, feel a little bit normalized during that particular day. Follow us on social media. We have an amazing social media resource specialist, and she is just fantastic with our followers and posting things. So if you want to know how to get involved, follow us there as well. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we're trying to start a TikTok channel as well.
I can assume. I know. Yeah. Oh, yes, exactly. And I also want to thank you guys because I met Katie when I'm the CEO as well of the Applaud Our Kids Foundation. And so you send kids our way at times to help fund them to go to ongoing performing arts for up to 15 years. If the funding isn't there for you, you send them to us. And we love this relationship. So thank you for that. And we love working with the families and the kids. So I know firsthand, not in the way that you do, in a different way, of what it is to see them connect with something and how beautiful it is when the entire family is coming to support them when they do their recitals and their showcases. It's an absolutely beautiful experience. If a parent is listening right now and they're not sure if they would fall under your services, what are the parameters for them to do that?
Katie, you want to take it?
Yeah, I can speak to that. Well, I get a lot of calls and emails just in general from the community. So if people aren't sure, they can always call us directly. Email, everything's on our website, all of the contact. There's also Perform Care that there's one number for the entire state that you call. It's free 24/7. And of course, I don't have it off the top of my head right now, but
We'll
I'm
find
sure
it.
Jess will get it. But you can call at any time and just talk to someone and say, this is what's going on with my child, and they will help you link to our care management organizations in whatever county you might be in New Jersey. There's also mobile response. So if there's a crisis, they can come out within an hour and help. They work with the kids for 8 weeks, and that's where we get most of our referrals. So if they need ongoing help, they come to us. So there's lots of doorways to get the help, but I always recommend just call us directly and we can help walk you through the process.
So
Something that,
yeah.
Jody, I'm so sorry. Something
No,
that's
go.
really important for listeners to hear. Our services are free. We do not bill families ever. Everything is free. The groups that we run are free, and it doesn't matter what their insurance is. It's even though it's Medicaid funded, a family of an affluent family on private insurance, or just a family that doesn't qualify for Medicaid, they are still going to get our services, because the philosophy is funded, like money should not be a barrier to a child and a family getting the treatment and the help that they need. So I think that's super important for people to know. And the number to perform care is 1-877-652-7624. I've been dialing it for 13 years. You think I would have it memorized by now?
I know, 18 years and I still don't know. But their website's really good too. It has a ton of information for families. So about services, about everything. So
one of the things I want to share here is that, a lot of kids are going through so many different things with this new technology world and being instant gratification. There's a lot of mental health issues or challenges, I should say, because of it, right? And so I just want to share this. My daughter benefited from your mobile response. It was an incredible experience. I think it was 8 weeks. I think she did 8 weeks. I don't want to say that, but I think it was 8 weeks. After my father passed away, she really, really, really struggled and had a really, really difficult time. And they were best friends. And so he had ALS, and it was a very, very difficult time. So, we obviously didn't meet the criteria on the financial side, but the services were 100% free. And it really, it saved her in so many incredible ways. I can't say it enough. I'm grateful for your services. And it was a very, very difficult time. But one of those things that happened, part of it was taking away her phone, because it was just, at the same time of her going through all of that, I also took away her phone. She may not love me for sharing this story, but I share it for the listeners who are dealing with this with their children. And I want to go into this with all of you. The phone has become an emotional support system. And in some cases, it's also become the bully. And I would assume, and I don't like to do that you may be dealing with some stories with families that have issues with this situation. And I wanted to see if you could give some insight to those parents and those families, and if any kids are listening, about the phone and technology and this instant gratification and validation that they're consistently looking for, that they're looking in the wrong place.
I would say it's so important to know that on every app, every Google search, everything that you're on, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, there are algorithms that are being created. So the moment you watch any kind of video that might be any kind of negative in nature, right? Or like an unhealthy something, you're going to continuously see those things unless you actively change that algorithm. So like, if you need to if you're going to be on it, follow positive messaging, comedy, right? Like stand-up comics, right? So that those things are coming up, because you can so easily get addicted to that scrolling, and you're constantly seeing these either negative images, negative messaging, and that really messes with your psyche. And I think it's so important that parents are supervising their child's usage, limiting the usage, and any kids and teens that are listening know that it's meant to keep your mind and your brain healthy and not become apathetic and just like kind of, like I said, like just getting bogged down with that negativity. It's not good for your mental health. And it's hard. Me as an adult, I have to shut it off. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting like depressed, like watching these things.
And it does come up frequently with our families,
Yes.
technology and social media, right? And so our care managers, when they're working with their youths and their families, part of it is cultivating a lot of different things that youth likes, enjoys, has a passion for, and coming up with different things. Like if social media and tech is posing a problem for them, what are the alternatives? What else can they be doing to occupy their time, so that they're not getting caught in that loop of negativity. And something that we also talk about too is safety with the technology as well, like educating the parents about what are the risks to your kids and what they could be exposed to on social media. And the kids too, educating them so that they're aware, hey, this doesn't seem quite right. So there's a lot of work that goes into it with the care managers of cultivating a plan with these kids of, you know, what else can you be doing with your time that serves you better? And also, the realization that everything you're seeing on there is not necessarily true. Like it poses, it can pose a very false picture of what reality actually is. And our younger kids, they just developmentally, they need help understanding that and getting to that point. So it is something that we deal with quite a bit.
We actually address social media and its impact on mental health through our girls empowerment group curriculum. That's one of the lessons that we talk about, because there's like such this image of perfection on social media, and you have these like 12, 13, 14-year-old girls think, well, why am I not like that? That's not the reality of it. So it absolutely impacts their self-esteem.
And does it for all of us. When I first started the podcast, I was sitting there watching the numbers, thinking, why am I not getting downloaded? What is wrong with me? Are my topics not good enough? Should I be interviewing this kind of person? And you start on this in this really negative, self-talk about what you're doing wrong and why you're not getting the likes and why you're not getting the subscribers, until I had a moment and said, if I even just help one person do any of these conversations, then that's my job. Just one person. You've got to, so the thing is, somebody puts something out and I can hear my kids, my niece being like, oh, I don't know why somebody left me unread, or why somebody, and then they start going down this, and then you can hear them starting to go down this terrible negative self-talk about, they don't like me, they think I'm this, that, and it's this horrible, so this immediate and instant gratification. I didn't grow up with it. I don't know, many of us may not have, but I definitely didn't. And so yet you can fall into it very quickly and become addicted to it. It's a dopamine, right? A rush. And that's what everybody, that chemical, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe it's an addictive feeling, and we get addicted to that dopamine rush. So would anybody like to talk just a little bit about that? Because I think most people don't talk about it, but it is really true. You do get addicted to that chemical release within your own body.
That sounds like a Katie answer.
I was thinking more like a Maureen one with her critical lens.
We're going to keep passing it. Don't pass it to me. I'm leaving it to you, Maureen.
Well, I think what you say is true. And the more research that comes out about it just reinforces that not just kids and adults, you do get that little spike in. I mean, I noticed in myself last night, like I love the reels on like the Dollar Tree meals, like what kind of dinner you could make for $5 at Dollar Tree. And it's like I just get a little, wow, that was impressive. Like that, I love that, and you just keep scrolling. And, as an adult, oh, I've fallen into this cycle, right? And it's hard as an adult to break out of it. So imagine that as a teenager. And I think, all the more reason to work on cultivating healthier and better and varied, right? Various different things that you can be doing with your time. And, I think for the kids, it's just, you might have referenced a little bit, like, in the past, if you had problems at school or social problems, right? You went home at the end of your school day and that was the end of it. Right? You didn't have to bring it home with you. These kids go home, and because of the technology they have access to, they can be subjected to it 24/7, whatever is going on. So we also feel like it's really important for parents to know that too. And like every parent knows their kid, and working with them, like what are the best, limits that they can put with their kids of like, what's good for you, what's not good for you.
I think it's just like even more important, just spending time together, spending time with other human beings. And, that's one big thing with our wraparound is natural supports. Who's on that team? Who's in your, who's there for you? It could be a teacher, it could be a coach, it could be an uncle, it could be not just your parents, but wrapping the kids and the whole family with these supports is so important. And it's that human interaction, not through a phone, not through a computer or video games. I mean, that's a big thing too. And I know the kids connect through them. Talk about dopamine. It's basically, it's almost like gambling, it becomes an addiction, but actually being together with people is so important. And I think that, that's why we really push, what do you want to do? Recreation, music, something where you're out with people and not on these devices all the time.
And I get it, like from a parenting perspective, like right now raising kids is so hard. If you have a two-person income, a two-person household, most likely both of those people have to work, and both of them have to work full time, crazy hours. You got like PTAs and PTOs coming at you every which way. By the time you get home, you get the kids home from aftercare, you're exhausted and you're just like, oh my God, I need to decompress. Here, watch your tablet for a half hour, It's so easy to fall in that routine, and you kind of have to fight against it and be like, you know what? I got to make dinner. You're not going on your tablet. You're coming in the kitchen, make dinner with me. Right. So then at least they're learning like a skill in the household. You're spending that time together, and maybe it's a decompression for you with your kid in the kitchen with you cooking. But it's the parents have to fight against what almost feels natural to us. Also, we get home, I don't want to hear anymore. Here, go do this. So fighting against that a little bit.
I think Katie made a good point too in bringing up when our care managers go out and they're developing a child family team that works with that youth and family, it expands past the parents, right? It is community members, coaches, teachers, family friends, people from church, because we know that one of the biggest protective factors for kids at risk is if they are able to identify at least one supportive adult. And it doesn't have to be a parent necessarily. And so that's part of the effort too, is that we help them to cultivate their team of support. And sometimes for whatever reasons, maybe a parent is not available to be that person in the moment. And so we want to help them, grow their team as well.
The book is coming. The book is coming. Today is the Day, Live It will be published in late January 2026. Go to todayisthedayliveit.com to sign up and be the first to know when pre-orders are available. Live It is the Today's the Day Changemaker story. A story that began with one bold decision I made to spark a movement and create a platform for authentic connection and community. It showcases how a single choice can shift the trajectory of one life and ripple outward to transform the lives of many. Within these pages, you'll hear from 30 changemakers across the globe, from California to Uganda, sharing their voices, their defining shifts, and the impact they've made by choosing courage over fear, even when it seemed impossible. This isn't just a book. It's an invitation for you to believe in the power of one voice, your own. Stay tuned for the official author reveal coming soon, and don't forget to sign up at todayisthedayliveit.com so you don't miss your chance to pre-order. Because today is the day. Live It is more than a book. It's a movement.
I do want to go back to one quick thing, because we mentioned mobile response way too fast, and for people may not even understand what that may be. Could somebody share a little bit about that?
Yes, I was actually going to make a quick correction. So mobile response is not out of our agency. That's out, at least in Ocean County, it's out of Preferred Behavioral Health. So folks, parents, caregivers can contact Perform Care, let them know what's going on. And if it's like an imminent danger type crisis, they might dispatch mobile response, where they would call Preferred Behavioral. And what that is 2 clinicians will come out to the home. They can come out within an hour. Sometimes it's a delayed dispatch, like the next day. The parent gets to help make that decision. But the 2 clinicians go out and they go to the home, they do an assessment, and they very quick turnaround put a clinician in to start working with that youth and the family. And it's typically, I think, 2 hours a week. But this one is very short term, just to stabilize the crisis very quickly. At the end of the 8 weeks, sometimes the families are good to go, and they might get discharged to outpatient or discharged to no services, or they might get referred to us if they need that longer term care.
Yeah, thank you for making that clear. I appreciate that. What are we missing as we're coming to the end of an hour? See how quickly it goes, right? We were thinking it's like an hour now. So, what are we missing? I know again with October being Domestic Violence Month, Awareness Month, and then also the holidays coming, right? Too. That's also a lot of stress. What would you like to share in closing here? And then I'll have one last question after I ask this.
Katie, Maureen, you got anything?
I was just thinking, we're talking about all like the hard stuff or the tough stuff, but we always have fun too. So that's key. And we have some fun events coming up. Jess, do you want to speak to that? Where we get together, all people, we have a good time and make those connections, get to know one another.
The biggest one that we are having is going to be December. I got to look on my calendar because I always forget the date. December 6th, for folks that might be listening that are in the area, we will be doing pet and family holiday photos at Icarus Brewing. Tickets will be on sale probably within the next month on our website and on our social media. If anyone's looking to get like some shout outs or anything, we would love some sponsors for it. We'll have some vendors set up. Adam Redding Photography will be taking the photos for us. You don't have to have a pet. You could just come by yourself or with kids or whatever. But if you have pets, please come. Last year we had all dogs and one cat. I would love to have more cats this year.
Or other animals.
Or other animals as well.
Like a pig, maybe.
Taking
I was just gonna say, bring your pet pigs.
Bring your donkeys. I don't care. It's gonna be a good time.
Chickens.
Oh yeah.
Going to be a good time. But yeah, like continue to follow us because my new role now is to try to make more fun events available and all of that. So follow us on social media for things coming up, but that's our next big one.
And really the whole goal, I mean, aside from getting the word out that we're here to help, is just to bring people together and, support one another and have fun and enjoy because, life is tough now. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but there's a lot of good stuff too.
It takes a village. Like there's a reason that statement still holds true. And I think so many parents these days think that they need to do it all on their own or they're failing somehow. Like ask for help. There are people that want to help and be that village around you and your children because we need to just come together as a community if we're going to survive this life in this human race.
Maureen, anything else from you on this topic?
No, I would really just echo what Katie was saying about, we have a very serious job that we do here and we tackle serious issues. But at Ocean Partnership, we're really very much a team and a family, and we're very mission driven. We're very passionate about the mission. And so we go about it, with a joyous, with joyous hearts that we're in this field for a reason and we love what we do. And so, however hard the day might be, I think that we all know that we've done some good,
Wonderful. You talked about how hard it could be. And Katie earlier brought up the bicycle that helped a woman connect better. So let's talk really fast. Balance is super important. What is a hobby that you do to help you balance what you're dealing with every single day, every single week? Jessica, we'll start with you.
Don't steal mine, Jess.
I have to a little bit. Okay, so I love to garden. I love to read. I like to go hang out with my kids, go for walks, go for hikes, go crabbing on the boat or at the dock. And I'm so sorry, Maureen, but I just started birding. I'm really into it, but go ahead. I'll let Maureen go next.
She did give me a little credit for inspiring her to be a birder.
Many of us, you've inspired.
Yes, COVID actually unleashed a new hobby for me. I became very, very interested in my backyard birds, and it kind of took off from there. And I love to go birding. I love just to be out in nature, seeing what I see, going to birding festivals, meeting people birding. We started a little group here for kids called Birds of a Feather, where kids and their parent, we would take them out into parks and see what birds we see. And there's a lot of studies that support the idea that birding lowers your stress levels, decreases your feelings of depression. So it really is a thing that's good for you. So that's my latest thing is birding.
We're going to talk about that in a minute more.
No,
I
it
want to hear.
increases my stress level when I could hear the bird. I'm like, I know that's a new one, and then I can't find it with my binoculars. My stress is going up.
Yes.
Little nuthatches.
I love it. Katie, what about you?
Oh, I love going to the beach, seeing my ospreys, and they're going to be leaving soon. And live music. I go to live music most days of the week because we are so fortunate where we live. We have how many different shows every single night, and they're like usually free too. So yeah, we live in a great area.
We sure do. The Jersey Shore is beautiful. And we're not talking about the TV show for those of you who
That's not the Jersey Shore.
that is not the
It's
Jersey
not
Shore.
reflective.
No.
In any way, I just wanted to say that for those who are listening somewhere else that have no idea that it is not that in any way, shape, or form. But I have to share with you something really quick, Maureen. So birding, I'm assuming is like bird watching.
Yeah.
And so I wound up, there's a bay right by me, about a mile from me. And I was looking out at the bay. I go back, there's a bird by my car. It looks hurt. And I don't know how it even got to my car, by my car. And it was like hobbling. So I call up, I'm calling whoever. And I wound up I was able to get someone on the phone that said that they would come out. And I'm trying to remember the rescue said that they would come out and do it. And I called them, and this bird, I needed to get it out of the street. So I didn't know about touching and stuff. Literally, it followed me hobbling I have a video. It was like, and I have now since found 3 hurt birds that I've helped to heal back to health. So I am totally a birder. And I have loved birds since I was a child. So you're going to have to let me know about these groups because I'm not part of any groups, but I'd love to.
Yes, there's so many, and same for, I could go on forever. This could be another
We need a whole other hour.
I could talk about this, but there are plenty of groups. Monmouth County Audubon, I go on walks with them a lot. They do a lot of walks all over the county all year long. Different seasons bring different birds, different migrations. So yeah, we could talk for hours about it. And now the birds know that you're compassionate towards them, so they will keep appearing. Did you ever find out what kind of bird that was?
A laughing gull.
Oh, yes.
It was a laughing gull.
Yes.
And I have a video. I'll have to send it to you guys. It's the cutest thing how this thing hobbled and walked with me so I could put it off to the side. And then I waited.
Yes.
And I had to work that day. I waited for them to come out and get the bird, and they said yes, that it was a baby, and the other bigger birds were beating it up and kind of taking advantage. So they kept it for 2-3 weeks to nurse it back to health, and then they released it. But yeah, it's like I want to take it in. I'll take them all in.
I know. But birds are so much more intelligent than people give them credit for. So that bird knew you were looking to help it. So yeah. Yeah, I could go on about my birds.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. I have like this. So my husband was walking. He saw this bird across the street. He's not as bird lover as me, and he's like, "Oh, I think that bird is hurt." And he's walking. I'm like, "What do you mean you think that bird is hurt?" So now I call the response again. This was only a couple of weeks ago. Gave it some water. I picked it up with a towel. I put it in one of the, a box, open box, and they came and they took it off my porch. And I'm like, yes, they're finding me, and it's okay. They can keep finding me as long as I can help
And there
them.
are organizations that will come out, and like the Raptor Trust is one. Whoever you call, there's a couple of like smaller grassroots type of organizations.
Popcorn Park Zoo.
Popcorn
I think it might.
Park Zoo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Her name is Maria or Marie. And from the Popcorn Park Zoo, her and I are on a first name basis now at this point.
I think I've called them like 4 times over the years with her aunt, because they're right down the street from me with we had a hurt bunny, a hurt baby bird, and they come right over and help out.
So a
which is
nice
amazing.
shout out to the Popcorn Park Zoo for all
They're
the work
amazing.
that they do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to share before we go, guys? No.
I think so.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And we have all the numbers and the websites that'll be appearing on the YouTube channel, and you'll also hear them again through my voiceover. It's important. If you need help, if you need support, whether it's for yourself, your family, Ocean Partnership for Children is here. I'm sure that you might be able to guide people if they are not in Ocean county to another county or somewhere else outside of New Jersey. I know because you're such giving people that you would help those who may be listening from somewhere else. So please connect. Can somebody just share the website one more time?
www.oceanpartnership.org.
Awesome. I want to thank Jessica, Katie, and Maureen for being part of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast this week and for this episode. Thank you for the work that you do and the families that you support. It's so, so important. You're doing change-making work every single day. And I'm going to say what I say at the end of every single podcast. Today is the day. You cannot go back to yesterday, and you do not yet own tomorrow. So what small or large steps are you going to take today to get yourself closer to your goals? Have a great week, everyone. Bye. Thank you so much to all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.